Lo of the Rebbe to learn Hilchos Beis Abchira. In the days Ben HaMetzorim, we have the honor today to have a Choshev in German, Choshev in Lamdim, in our Cheder. Harav HaChosid, Harav Raubן Bochorberg will give us some insight into Hilchos Beis Abchira. I just wanted to ask everybody also the of the Rebbe to give Zokah V'Tzibur, so can please give Zokah. Before he starts, after Ma'ariv in Mirz Hashem, there will be a Siyum on Zroim and Aschola of Aveda, Shuvashgoche Protis. For the next, at least until the 9 days, the entire world will also learn Hilchos Beis Abchira, even the ones that have no time to add on to the shiurim of Hilchos Beis Abchira in the 3 weeks. So the ganze Welt wird lernen in dem Rambam, wir lernen in Aveda, wir lernen in Hilchos Beis Abchira. V'shgora Protis Harav Bochorberg, bevakasha.
Geshkach for the Bexchos. So the Rebbe tells us in a Sicha Chelek Chav Aleph, Parashas Truma, some insights about the Menorah. So we know that according to the Rambam, the Menorah, the cups that he wrote on his picture, the special Gevim, they were upside down. And this is the famous picture of the Rambam over here, printed in Likutei Sichos. So the Rabbi quotes the Rambam and says that what are those cups similar to Lemahen Daimin? It's Kemin Kaisus Alexandrium, just some very type of special cups which were a little bit special shaped. And the question we have is, the Rambam doesn't mention clearly about the fact that it should be upside down. But we have a clear picture in the Pirush HaMishnayos that it's upside down. And do we say that this is actually the way, this is what the Rambam holds, that it was upside down? Or perhaps could we say that the Rambam was just writing and he wasn't being specific in the drawing that he was making? Now obviously, if we know the Rambam a little bit, the Rabbi says that when he's drawing something, the Rambam is precise. And especially if he has to draw the Gevim 22 times and to make the same thing, having them upside down, there must be something to it. It's not just that the Rambam chose to make it in such a way for no purpose. Now we do see in the picture of the Rambam, there are certain things where he wasn't so medayik. For example, the cup is very pointy, has a big spitz in the picture. Now, Bepashtos, the way the Rabbi learns is that it must be that the base must have had a little bit more of a broader, base. But here, to make it more simple, the Rambam made it pointier. But in terms of the direction, it's in Ila Ladas that the Rambam would make such a picture and not be precise about it. But we have to understand why were the cups of Menorah in such a way. And when we look at the Rambam in Hilchos Beis Abchira, the Rambam makes no mention of it. So why doesn't he make a mention of it? Why doesn't he bring that seer like he brought in the Pirush HaMishnayos? So the Rabbi gives us 3 explanations why the Rambam didn't have that picture by Hilchos Beis Abchira when he's discussing in the Sefer Hayad about the halachos. Number 1, in Sefer Hayad, it wasn't part of the Rambam's idea to have a tziyurim. It's not the tochnit of the Sefer Hayad. Number 2, because it's not mifurash in Shas, this idea of having the Gevim upside down, he doesn't write it. And the third thing the Rebbe mentions is that it could be that because it's not li'ikuva, and that if, let's say, they were upside down, it could still be a kosher menorah. So he's gonna still keep the picture in that way because it's still valid. Now the Rebbe writes in the Ha'ara 11 star, the Rebbe writes that later on, it's a Ha'ara l'achar zman, they found one Rambam that actually has a tzir, and it's a tzir that's similar to the way that the Rambam drew in the Pirush HaMishnayos. And over there, actually, the details of the picture are similar to the way that's in the Pirush HaMishnayos. And over there it says, it adds in the Hilchos Beis HaBechira, Vezuhi Tzurasa. And this is, the picture. But in most of the Sfarim that you'll find, this will not be there, and that's the purpose over here of this explanation. Now, we're back to trying to understand, why are those cups overturned? What's the point of it? So in order to understand that, we have to go back into analyzing what's the theme in general of the menorah. What is the menorah all about? So the Gemara in Menachos tells us that the menorah was not there for the purpose of lighting. Le'eira ani tzarich, do I need the light of the candle? No, it's edus lechal ba'elam. It's a testimony for the people of the world. Now, on a very practical level, let's say al pi pshuto shal mikra, how do we see that the menorah is not there for light? Because if you see the way that the fires of the lamps were facing, they're all facing towards the middle candle, the Ner Maravi. Now, if you're trying to illuminate and spread the light on the room, so you would try to maximize the light all over. But the fact that here you're putting all you're putting all of the fire facing one direction, you're minimizing the light. So it's not there for lighting up the room. We know that the Eibishter was able to provide a lot of light, not specifically from the menorah, but rather the menorah was there to be able to enlighten the chutz. It was able to enlighten somewhere outside of the Beis HaMikdash. Like we know that the chalonos, the windows of the Beis HaMikdash, were uniquely made. They were shkufim atumim, which means that on the outside it was narrow. On the outside it was wide, and on the inside it was narrow, meaning that there was much more light projecting for the outside, and that's the goal of the menorah, to be able to project light, to share the light, to illuminate. It's not for the inside of the Beis HaMikdash, but rather for the outside, that not only it should be felt a Gilui Elokus in the Beis HaMikdash, but that this Gilui Elokus should spread all over the world. Now, if we take this theme in mind, we could apply that theme to the Gevim as well. Like the Rebbe quotes the Bachaye, and the Rebbe writes, according to Bachaye, that what's the reason that the Gevim were specifically overturned? It's because they represent the idea of hashpa'ah, of giving over. The Gevim correspond to different planets, and the idea of a planet is it takes a special care from Hashem, and it's mashpia to the world a special strength. And those Gevim, they basically have the hashpa that Hashem gives them, and it's overturned because you have to spread it. Now, why is it a cup? Why isn't it, let's say, a chavis, a barrel? Because there is a fundamental difference between a cup, like you see with cups, and let's say a barrel. A barrel is there to contain. Inyane is to be a kli kibul, to retain the drink. But a cup, it's all about using it for the person that's going to be drinking. So we're having in mind, technically, we have to have a beis kibul, a receptacle. But the whole point is that it should be able to transfer to someone else. And specifically here, we have an interesting detail. It wasn't just cups that were overturned. It was cups that had a narrow base, and they had a very wide mouth. And the Rebbe is going to tell us those two concepts in Avodas Hashem. So in Avodas Hashem, this means that a person, it's true that we have to work on ourselves and we have to do what it takes, but the main goal that we're here in this world is in order to make a dia b'tachtonim, in order to help another yid. That's Tzveit Yid. And that is the idea of the Hiron Avodas Hashem from this overturned Gevia. It's not enough that we have the keiches, but it's not enough we keep it for ourselves. We have to share the light. You meet a yid, you have to tell him how there's an Eibishter and how we have to share this passion. And that's the idea of the overturned cup. But there's another message in the form of the cups. When it comes to helping out another Yid, you have to go limayla memedida v'agbala. We cannot spare any koiches. And that's represented in the piv, in the opening on top of the gevia. They are wide, representing the amount of effort and koiches that we have to put in to be able to fully give in that message. And hopefully that it should be in a way that we overturn it and give it to other people as well. The Rebbe mentions that on a side note, that in the picture that we have in Likkutei Siras, the only picture in Likkutei Siras to my knowledge, the menorah that the Rambam made was ba'alachsan, it was diagonal. And the Rebbe tells us that there are certain people that claim that the menorah was round and that they learn it from different sources. But the Rebbe stresses that based on Rashi and based on the Rambam, his picture, we could testify that the tzir of the menorah was diagonal straight. And in fact, you might argue, but it's just a picture. Who says that it's accurate? We have the Rambam's son, Reb Avraham. He says that my father, he made that picture in a very, very specific way, and we could learn from it. The Mefarshim that actually claimed that it was, let's say, round, the Rebbe quotes the Rebbe quotes the Maseh Choshev, and another Mefaresh, who explained that the menorah was in such a way, but they were basing themselves on the Rambam. So the Rebbe concludes that since they were basing themselves on the Rambam, it must be that they did not have access to this tzir and ksav yad. If they would have access to that tzir and ksav yad, they would obviously have a different opinion. And the Rebbe learns out of Hira that in general, when it comes to the chinuch of the children, and in general, when we draw the menorah, it should be in a diagonal straight way. And in the Ha'ara, the Rebbe mentions that it's kedai, that even the menorah, which the menorah for Chanukah, the Chanukias, even though it's not the actual menorah, it would be kedai to also have one that is diagonal as well. And in the end, the Rebbe quotes that some people want to rely on the fact that since the menorah that was depicted on the Shar Titus, this gate, that the general Titus Imach Shemoy, he had a whole drawing, and over there it shows how the Yidden were carrying some of the menorahs and the kelim of the Beis HaMikdash. And if you take a look at that picture, it's round. So there's the Yidden slaves. I think the Romans possibly enslaved some of the Yidden, putting them there. I never saw that picture, but basically over there it says that the Yidden were conquered, and this picture shows that the kelim of the Beis HaMikdash were taken. But obviously we cannot rely on that picture, and some people even would say maybe it was not the menorah from it was a special menorah that was in the time of Shlomo HaMelech. But even though you could say that, the Rebbe concludes that it's the Rebbe has a very specific lashon saying that it's a geshrei, a gewalt geshrei to verlassen of that picture and to follow this picture. And the Rebbe encourages that we should make our menorah in a straight and diagonal way. And what's the idea? That we should be inspired, and that we should be neres lehayir. That when we look at a menorah, the idea is that we're here to share the light and illuminate and be neres lehayir. And with this, that we should be able to have the Gula Mitzvah Shlema and have the menorah kepshute mamash umheira v'yameinu mamash.
Shkoyach. Just to remind everybody again that right after Ma'ariv there will be a siyum and zroim as chol of Aveda. We know that the hero of the Rebbe to make a siyum every day from Rosh Chodesh Menachem Ov until 15 B'Ov. So we're starting today with the siyumim. The siyum so sein Siyum Agolus take from Yad Mamesh. A guten Kol.